Number patterns revisited. Example 1. Express the nth term of the number pattern -1, 13, 51, 125, 247, ... as a cubic polynomial. So we start by writing out our pattern. We find the first difference. So to get from -1 to 13, we add 14. To get from 13 to 51, we add 38, and so on. So we get 74 and then 122. So this is the first difference. So we know that the pattern is not linear because the first difference is not the same. So next we're going to investigate the second difference. So to get from 14 to 38, we add 24. To get from 38 to 74, we add 36. And to get from 74 to 122, we add 48. So the second difference is not the same. So therefore the pattern is not quadratic. So now we investigate the third difference. To get from 24 to 36, we add 12. From 36 to 48, we add 12. So the third difference is the same, and the third difference is 12. So this must be a cubic pattern. So we know that 6a is equal to the third difference. So this comes from our table up here that we need to learn off. So 6a is equal to the third difference. So 6a is equal to 12. So dividing 12 by 6 gives us 2. So a is equal to 2. So we're going to use this nth term. So tn equals an cubed plus bn squared plus cn plus d. And we're going to replace the a with 2. So tn is equal to 2n cubed plus bn squared plus cn plus d. So I'm just writing that out again from the previous slide. So T1, we're going to replace each of the n's with 1 inside brackets for term 1. And we know that term 1 is -1, so we replace T1 with -1. 2 times 1 cubed is 2, b times 1 squared is b, c times 1 is c, plus d. And then simplifying letters to the left, numbers to the right, we get b plus c plus d is equal to -3. Then we do the same with term 2. So replace each of the n's for 2 with brackets. We know that term 2 was 13. So we replace T2 with 13. So we get 13 equals 16 plus 4b plus 2c plus d. Then we do letters to the left, numbers to the right, and we simplify. So we get 4b plus 2c plus d is equal to -3. Then we do the same with term 3. So replacing each of the n's for brackets and putting 3 into the brackets. And we know that term 3 is 51. That was given to us in the question. So term 3 is 51. So 51 equals 54 plus 9b plus 3c plus d. Then we do letters to the left, numbers to the right, and simplify. So we get 9b plus 3c plus d is equal to -3. So now we have 3 equations in terms of b, c, and d. We already know the a, we worked that out at the start. So we need to solve simultaneously. So we take 2 of the equations, it doesn't matter which 2. I'm just going with the first 2. So I'm changing the signs of everything in the second equation so that my d's will cancel. So I'm left with -3b minus c is equal to 0. So then I take 2 more of my equations. So I'm going with the middle one and the bottom one, and I'm changing the signs of the bottom one so that the d's will cancel. I'm left with -5b minus c is equal to 0. And then I take both of the equations that are now in terms of b and c that have no d's in them, and I solve them simultaneously. So solving, so I'm going to change the signs of the second equation so that my c's can cancel. So I get 2b is equal to 0, so b is equal to 0. I take one of the equations, doesn't matter which one, I sub in b is 0. And then I solve for c, so c is equal to 0. So now I have to find d. So I know that b plus c plus d is equal to -3. So this was just one of the equations that I set up at the start. It was the very first one that I set up in terms of b, c, and d. So it doesn't matter which one you use, I'm just going with the first one. And I'm going to sub in the parts that I found so I can swap b and c for 0. And I can solve for d. So d is equal to -3. So I know A is equal to 2, B is equal to 0, C is equal to 0, and D is equal to minus 3. So subbing into my nth term, so I already know the 2, that's why the 2 is already in there. Replacing the B with 0, and replacing the C with 0, and replacing the D with minus 3. I simplify to get Tn equals 2n cubed minus 3. So this is my nth term formula for this pattern. So I was asked to express the nth term of the number pattern as a cubic polynomial. And it is indeed cubic because the highest power of n is 3. So this is my answer, but I'm just going to show you another way that I could have done it. So if I go back to this step here, so where I've set up my 3 equations in terms of B, C, and D. So again, I want to solve simultaneously. So I'm going to solve for D, and I'm going to sub D into the other equations. So I'm going to solve for D because D is already on its own, so it's the simplest way to do it. So I solve for D, so I make D the subject of the formula. So I bring, D is already on the left-hand side, I don't have to move it, but I bring everything else over to the right-hand side and change the signs. So I get D is equal to minus 3, minus B, minus C. So I'm going to take one of the other equations. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm going with 4B plus 2C plus D is equal to minus 3. And I replace the D with a set of brackets, and into the brackets I put minus 3 minus B minus C. And then multiplying out the brackets, so being very, very careful because you obviously have some minuses here. So you don't have a minus in front, so you're not going to actually multiply a minus in, so you will just lose the brackets. But in other questions or equations, you may have a minus here, or you may have a different number. So just always use brackets when you're subbing in. If you're doing this method, if you're subbing D into another equation, always use brackets just in case you could easily make a mistake with this. So then simplifying, I get 3B plus C is equal to 0. So then I take the other equation, 9B plus 3C plus D is equal to minus 3. So again, I'm going to swap the D for a set of brackets. Again, really, really important that you use brackets here. Into the brackets, I put minus 3 minus B minus C. And I multiply out the brackets and simplify. And I end up with 8B plus 2C is equal to 0. So then I take the 2 equations in terms of B and C, and I solve for B and C. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by minus 2 so that the C's can cancel. Cancelling the C's and solving, I get B is equal to 0. And then taking one of the equations, doesn't matter which one, I'll go with the top one, replacing B with 0 and a set of brackets. And I simplify to get C is equal to 0, so just like before. And again, subbing in, I already know the A is 2, replacing the B with 0, the C with 0, and the D with minus 3. I get Tn equals 2n cubed minus 3 again. So it's just an alternate way of doing it. So just a reminder there, what I did was I solved for D and I subbed D into the other equations. So solving for D is known as changing the subject of the formula or writing in terms of D. So I solved for D and I subbed D into the other equation. So it's just another way of working it out.